This is episode 272 of Stogie Geeks, Volume 2. We have a fascinating interview right now. We have William Coit from whiskeyandcigars.com. Just to let you know, when you type that in, you go whiskey and cigars.com. Check it out. Also, it's available on our wiki page. If you have any questions on this interview, feel free to email me at joh@stogiegeeks.com. And if you can't find the right URL link, I will provide that for you. That's joh@stogiegeeks.com. William Coit is with Whiskey and Cigars. What is it? Simple business methodology. They have a monthly subscription that delivers they have a monthly subscription that delivers 3, 4, or 5 whiskey and cigar samples to your door. When you sign up with Whiskey and Cigars, you receive a new box containing 3, 4, or 5 whiskey and cigar samples every month from around the world. You select the plan that's right, and they deliver it to your home or business. It's that simple. William, welcome to Stogie Geeks. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. I came across your website, and we here at Stogie Geeks, we talk whiskey and cigars weekly, here every Friday.
I drink whiskey and cigars weekly.
So, this is going to be a great interview. So tell us how you got started and how the company got started.
Well, I am a passionate connoisseur of whiskey and cigars, and I was trying to decide if I should pursue my hobby or continue doing what I'm presently doing.
Mm-hmm.
The whiskey and cigars won out.
There you go. It's a great thing when you do what you love, for sure. Full disclosure, and
That's
this is
right. If you do what you love, the money will follow.
That's true. Full disclosure, if you follow me on Stogie Geeks and you look at some of the past pairings, I'm a fan of whiskey and cigars. I'm also a fan of Bloody Mary and cigars, and I'm also a fan of red wine and cigars. And often people, when I say people, I see consumers from either when I owned a cigar shop here in the Province Metro or from when I do my travels. A lot of people do the Scotch and cigar thing, but not so much the whiskey and cigar thing. And when I came across your site, I said, this is right up my alley.
I'm glad you like it, man.
Absolutely.
I hear that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Because like I said, a lot of people, they always go to the Scotch, or they want, they want to go for your Glenlivet, or they want to go for the 30, the 30-year, et cetera, 50-year, 25-year, 10-year, whatever. And, it's great. But whiskey, like for my palate, right, I'm speaking for myself, whiskey, Bloody Mary, red wine with cigar has a pop on the palate,
Right.
So, kind of digging that. How do you come up with? Let's talk about the pairing. So someone can log on to your website, and what can they expect?
Well, there's a sample box.
Okay.
We have over 1,000 cigar brands and whiskeys that we pair with each box. The first question that you have to ask yourself is basically, do you know your palate? What are your favorite flavors? Are you a sweet person or are you a smoky person? Do you prefer single malt Scotch or blended?
Mm-hmm.
All of these are questions you should be asking yourself throughout your process of choosing to decide which box to select.
Awesome. How do you come up with the pairing? So obviously you're a fan of whiskey. I'm sure you have done taste tests. By the way, if you ever need like a panel,
Okay.
to do a taste test, sign me up.
Right. I got you on that.
So how do you come up with that? So, next month is the month of June, and I'm
Right.
sure you have a list already as to what they can expect, what the subscriber can expect if they subscribe to your service. How do you specifically come up with the pairings for each month?
Well, I try to select a pairing from each region. Uh, uh, Whiskeys will give you a different taste based on the region it comes from. For example, American whiskeys tend to be sweeter. Irish whiskeys are usually light bodied and robust. Scotch tends to be smoky and earthy. Canadian whiskeys are typically light and fruity in taste.
Mm,
Uh, from there, I simply match the cigar and the whiskey type, and I put a combination together.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's not sciencey anything. I just select things that typically I would like, and also what I feel that the customer may like.
Mm-hmm.
The key to the box is to give you a wide selection of samples, so you can try samples that you normally wouldn't purchase in a cigar store or in a alcohol store.
Mm,
So it gives you different brands that ordinarily you wouldn't try.
mm. Canadian whiskey, light and fruity, kind of like the hockey
Yes.
players for sure. Right, right. The Bruins are in the playoffs, so there you go.
Yes,
Um,
they are. And they're against my old Atlanta Thrashers. We lost the team to them, and now they are playing extremely well. So I'm a little disappointed about that.
yeah, yeah. They have not been. They're playing, but the intensity. It's like they. I think it's physical fitness. They really need to play for the duration of the game and not just specific periods. But anyway, this is not a sports show.
Right, right.
Let's get to this to the important part. How do you go about pairing the cigars, and how do you choose the vendors?
Well, I do have a wide selection of vendors, and oftentimes I get samples from suppliers.
Okay.
They're eager to get in my box, and they will send me samples. And if I like the sample, typically I put a few of the samples in the box. Um, Now, second, it's something that it's not, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a science to it. It's simply based upon taste. I know what I like to pair a dark whiskey with. I prefer a bold, smoky cigar to go with that. So typically, I'll select one that's bold and smoky, and I pair it with a dark whiskey. Um, Now, with the light bodied cigar, it typically goes well with one of my blended scotches. Now, my medium cigars are great with maybe a single malt scotch whiskey. So I sample them. So I spend a lot of time sampling a lot of cigars and whiskey and coming up with the right pair that I think would work.
Mm-hmm. Are you prepared to give any particular names of cigars? So, in regards to, if it's a bold whiskey, I like this brand of cigar. Or if it's a lighter whiskey, I like this brand of cigar.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll send you a list some of my favorites. I
Okay.
don't have any right in front of me that I would like to share, but I'll definitely forward you a list that. And actually, I do have a list up on my blog. Now that I think about it, I posted something
Okay.
just recently, and I have some pairings on there. But I'll be more than happy to provide you with a list of pairings that I would suggest. But as I mentioned, there's no right or wrong when it comes to pairing whiskeys and cigars.
Mm-hmm.
As stated, personal preference really plays a big part in what tastes best and what smokes better for your liking. So you can't go wrong with selecting, different pairs.
Right, right. Now, do you go more of the classic facings of cigars? So, the ones that have been around for 100 years, or do you get a little bit more creative with some of the newer offerings that the cigar world has?
Well, what I typically try to do is introduce a lot of the newer brands.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, the newer brands don't have the name recognition, they don't have the marketing budget behind them. So they're typically pushed to the side. and they don't have the exposure as many of the big brands. So I'm pretty much a equal opportunity a provider. I give opportunity to every brand out there. So I don't really have a preference over the big name brands over a smaller brand.
That's actually a very unique stance when it comes to your service because you're and correct me if I'm wrong, you're truly trying to match the cigar offering. You're not getting involved if it's, a Romeo and Julieta or Monte Cristo, or if it's something, that's been around for a while, or if it's one of the new offerings. You're truly going to, wow, I've had this cigar and it would go with this whiskey, or vice versa. I've had this whiskey, it should go with this cigar.
Exactly.
Wow, that is not the answer that I expected. So I'm actually happy that you told that, because that I think makes your product really fascinating, especially here for the Stogie Geek listener. There's been this whole boutique revolution. I guess that's my word. That's where the smaller companies are really, especially the smaller companies from the region of Nicaragua, are really, really starting to gather that market share, especially in hotspots across the United States. And what I mean by hotspots is Atlanta, Georgia, for sure,
Right.
Texas, San Antonio, Texas, South Florida, and the Northeast. Now, live here in the Northeast, so we're constantly being bombarded by the boutique companies for sure, and they're really giving the classic facings kind of a run for their money. And then sometimes I get some pushback from the Stogie Geeks listener or from people we interview on the show, depending on if they're with the boutique company or a classic facing company, right?
Right.
And I say, well, a classic example of that is, why do you have a company like Romeo and Julieta, who has done Dominican cigars since the beginning, well over 100 years, and then a couple years ago they get into the Nicaraguan blend?
Right.
Why do you have a company like Avo, who has always been known for crisp, fresh sticks from a certain region, and then they come up with a Nicaraguan series of blends? So that just tells me that these boutiques are really putting in a dent into that. But that's why I think the Stogie Geeks listener would be very fascinated with your product, because you're staying out of that argument.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be curious to get my hands on that list for sure.
Okay.
Uh,
Most definitely.
you can email me back with that list, and let me know in the email if I can sneak a couple of blends out, because I know when the Stogie Geeks listener watches this podcast, they're gonna email me and say, "Well, now I have a blind tasting of a whiskey."
Right.
And the whiskey wouldn't bother them so much, I would think, as the blind tasting of the cigar.
Okay.
So for sure. Now, so you go, when you pair with whiskey, dark whiskey, bold flavor, as opposed to Canadian light and fruity.
Right.
So you go bold flavor, bold cigar, correct?
Exactly. I try to match the cigar with the intensity of the whiskey. So we'll go bold flavor cigar, bold flavor whiskey.
Mm-hmm. What do you do for the opposite side? So if it's a light
Uh,
whiskey,
yeah, if it's a light whiskey, we'll go with a mild cigar.
okay, yeah,
Um, so we keep it simple. We pair a mild cigar with the mild whiskey, a bold cigar with the bold and smoky whiskey.
awesome. Do you get regionally specific when it comes to the cigars? And what I mean by that, a Dominican, like your light, is it Dominican, or again, it's just whatever your profile is for light?
Yeah, it's whatever my
Okay.
profile. As I mentioned, I try to incorporate a number of different brands, allow them access to my subscribers. and also give them an opportunity to get their brand up in the market. Oftentimes, many of the bigger brands have millions of dollars to spend on advertising budgets, and they can flood the market with various commercials or social media influence, and maybe skew the opportunities for some of the smaller brands. So what I try to do is level the playing field and introduce some of the brands that I think are worthy of being included up in my box without being under pressured by maybe some of the name brands to put them in the box.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you ship the cigars, they do have labels on them, right? So if your subscriber likes the pairing, he or she could go and find the cigar online, correct? Or find
that's
within.
correct.
Okay, yep.
It comes with the label on there.
Yep.
And also the alcohol bottles are the small 50 milliliter bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's enough for one shot. And if you like it, you can go to your favorite liquor store and purchase a bigger bottle.
Sure. No, it's a great service. Now, in the liquor world, right? So in the whiskey world, on that side, it's just like the cigar where you have bigger manufacturers and then you have smaller manufacturers. So is the methodology the same on the other side for you?
Yes, it's the same on that side also.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm constantly get samples from many of the bigger companies to include their brands up in my box.
Of course.
Some of them I include, and oftentimes I put smaller companies that produce small batches that I think are very good whiskeys, and the only reason that they don't have a huge market share is because of advertisement. They have unable to get a piece of the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Do you? So I guess my next business question would be: do you do more small brands on the liquor side than big brands, or do you try to find a balance?
Yeah, I try to find a balance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to introducing some of the big name brands, like Jack Daniels. I love Jack Daniels. I love Evan Williams.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to go to tour the Jack Daniels. I did the Jack Daniels tour and fell in love with many of the products. So I will include some of the big name brands up in the box also.
Awesome. If you go to whiskey-and-cigars.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see the blog post that William is talking about there. He also has a good tutorial about what is Scotch whiskey. Take us through that. Well, what's Scotch whiskey?
Scotch whiskey. That's simply a whiskey that it's made in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
It's many of the elements include cereal, water, yeast. Scotch whiskey is a malt whiskey or grain whiskey. It's made out of malted barley. Scotch whiskey is divided into 5 distinct categories. It's a single malt Scotch whiskey, a single grain Scotch whiskey, blended malt Scotch whiskey, and the blended grain Scotch whiskey. So there are different types of whiskey, and obviously they are aged in oak barrels for at least 3 years, and many of them are aged a lot longer, from 5 to 10 to 15 years, depending upon the intensity that you're trying to reach. It's a great whiskey to try if you're starting off. And many of the whiskeys that were founded in America are based it off of a lot of the ingredients and the distillation process from Scotland. So you can't go wrong trying those whiskeys.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm assuming that within your pairing, there'd be a little card with the description of all of that, so that the subscriber for your service can kind of get educated on the product as well.
Well, I'm going to say no upon that. I have not put the cards in there as of yet. That's something that I'm planning on doing.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I haven't begun that process of putting that in there.
Sure. But they at least have the name of the whiskey and the cigar there for sure.
Yes, Yes, these are 50 milliliter bottles, and the names are on there, so you can easily Google the information, and it'll pop up and tell you, everything about the product.
Right, right. Well, if you go to the website too, you have a fascinating tour. You have
Yes,
it's the 2018 it's the 2018 International Whiskey and Cigars Tour. Take us through that.
yes,
Take us through that. Because on your website, I mean, you got private viewings from cigar manufacturing facilities. You same thing offering on the whiskey side. Expert analysis. I'm assuming from sommeliers of some sort for both the whiskey and the cigars. And you're going all over the place. You get to meet and greet cigar experts. You get to meet master distillers and blenders. And your tour it kicks off in July, right?
that's correct.
Kicks off in July, and you're gonna go to Los Angeles, Miami. I was in Miami last week. That's a fun town. You ever been to Miami?
I spent 6 weeks in Miami in October of this past year.
Yeah.
I went through the rainy season, so I didn't particularly like the rain every day. It rained every day I was there. So.
Well, I was there last week, and I don't know if I could do 6 weeks in Miami.
Right.
I would come back probably like Tom Hanks in that Castaway movie. I'd have a beard, cut shorts, ripped T-shirt. that's one town that it's fascinating. Then you go into to Dallas, Texas. Then you go into New York. I'm assuming that's city, right? Not upstate.
That's correct.
Yep.
New York City.
Then you're gonna go to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yes, and let me talk about that one.
Please do.
In when we go to Santo Domingo, we will actually visit a cigar manufacturing facility.
Mm.
So I'm really excited about that. You'll be able to purchase tickets for the tour, and it's about a 2-hour drive from Santo Domingo to the facility. And what you'll do is you'll see the actual process of them making a cigar, from the planning of it to actually rolling of it. It's a complete tour, and you'll actually get a chance to smoke the cigars. So that will be one of the Saturday morning events that we will do once we get to Santo Domingo.
Awesome. Then you go into London, England. Bring an umbrella.
Yes.
Bring an umbrella.
Yes. It'll remind me of Miami.
Yeah, right. Then you go into Dubai, Chicago, Houston, Mexico City. That's a fun place too. Mexico City. San Francisco, Tokyo, Japan, São Paulo, Brazil. That's a fun place.
Right?
What's the agenda over there?
We're going to have a full course meal, and we're going to enjoy the city.
Yeah.
These are areas that I figured a lot of men would truly enjoy the nightlife. So these are cities where you can have a ton of fun. You can have some great whiskey, smoke some good cigars, and enjoy the city to the fullest.
Nice. Then you're going to Havana, Cuba, which, I mean, you want to talk about stepping back in time for sure. Over there, and then you're going over to the Philippines. So that's your 2018 tour itinerary. How does the listener, get in on this action for some of these tours?
It's very simple. It's an exclusive event, as I mentioned. The cost is $597. It includes a full course meal, samples of premium whiskeys and cigars. You'll get a chance to meet some of the top whiskey executives, some of the top cigar manufacturing companies. We will also have a top hand cigar roller on site. They will produce spot cigars, so you get a chance to sample some of that. As I mentioned earlier, at the Santo Domingo, the Havana, Cuba, you'll get a chance to visit a cigar manufacturing facility. So definitely looking forward to that. we'll also be giving away the subscription boxes. We'll provide you with a free subscription box to take home. Um, and the beauty of it is, I'm actually running a contest right now. If you go to my website, you'll notice that there's a link at the bottom of the page. You can actually win two free trips. You can win a trip to our Los Angeles event, and you can also win a trip to our Santo Domingo event. Just go ahead and enter your name, and we will select two winners to get a free opportunity to experience the event. So uh, that's really how you get in it.
Nice, nice. That sounds fascinating. It's sounds fun. Now you're gonna visit all these places yourself, huh?
I will be there live and in person. I will be heading up the after night routine. I'll be putting together the nightlife for everyone. So I will definitely be there.
William, I have a funny feeling that people are gonna have a good time.
I think you're right. I'm
Yeah.
almost sure they'll have a great time.
Nice, guaranteed fun had by all for sure. Um,
Exactly.
your product gets regulated sometimes per state. Take us through that process.
Yes, it does. We don't distribute to all states. We're presently distributing to 34 states.
Oh, really? It went up.
Uh,
Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought it was 32 in my head. So yeah, cool.
yeah, yeah. We're doing 34,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a list upon the when you go to the checkout, you can see if your state is a state that I can actually distribute it to.
Right.
Unfortunately,
You actually,
right?
side interrupt you. I'm just making a side note for the Stogie Geeks listener. You actually sent me that list. So if you're
Okay,
listening to this and you want to find out more, if your state is on that list, you can email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com, or you can visit William's website and he can walk you through that process. Go ahead.
right, right. It's just unfortunate. Many of the states regulate distribution of alcohol and tobacco, and we try to stay within that law. We don't service everyone, but there are enough people in the country that'll get an opportunity to sample our subscription boxes.
Right. Absolutely. When did you start this business?
I actually started it last year
Okay.
in October of last year while I was in Miami. I ran across some cigar aficionados, and they were telling me what they were doing, and it would just be great if they had a subscription box like that. And the idea just came to me, and I was like, I was sitting there drinking a great whiskey, and I was smoking a good cigar, and my mind just started thinking, why don't I do something like this? And that's where the idea came from. But I've been drinking and smoking whiskeys and cigars for at least 20 years, and I just never thought about pairing the two and putting them in a subscription box.
Hmm. So besides the regulation portion, what are some of the challenges that you face in this environment, starting a company like this?
Well, some of the bigger challenges is uh, processing credit cards information. I, I've gone to three processing companies, and I'm always in a search for a new credit card processor. For more than one reason, this is considered a high risk business. I don't understand why. It's only liquor, it's only cigars. There's nothing high risk about that.
Hmm.
But apparently, many of the credit card manufacturers or credit card processing companies have a problem processing those transactions. So that's been one of the bigger challenges that I've had to deal with. And as I've mentioned, I've gone through three different processes,
Hmm.
and uh, and uh, and also, the inability to ship products to all states.
Right.
That's something that will probably severely hamper my growth, because obviously I like to sell to everyone in America. Um, we definitely can't sell outside of the country, so we're limited to America. On our Instagram page, I get tons and tons of requests from people from London, from Iran, from Mexico, from the Philippines, and all of them want to sample my subscription box, and I hate to have to turn them down. I
Right.
love money. I love the idea of selling something to people, but it's unfortunate I can't send the box out because customs were confiscated, and they probably won't receive it. So there are a number of challenges in the business, but I'm here to stay. Uh, and you know, uh, if you can't buy the subscription box, come to our tour event, and you'll really have the time of your life.
Mm. Absolutely. Now it sounds like, according to your website, you were mentioned in recommended by CNN, Fortune magazine, Wall Street Journal, Esquire, MSN, The Today Show, NBC. So I'm sure that gave you a really big boost of exposure for sure.
Yes, it does. But ultimately, you have to provide the customers with a good product, and you provide them with a good product, they'll continue to buy from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What can we expect from the future?
Well, I do plan on starting my own cigar.
Really?
Yes, I will brand my own name and call the cigar William Coit Cigar, and it will be cigars for whiskey. These are cigars specifically designed to pair with whiskey. So uh, I'm taking the whiskey and cigar concept and going to create cigars that are specifically tailored for that. So that's a project that I will be launching at the end of the year. So keep your eyes and ears open to that. We will be launching. We do have an Instagram page up right now. You can go to at William Coit Cigar and follow us on that. You can follow us. If you sign up, you get 3 free reports. A free report on Cuban cigars, and we'll be announcing the actual launch date of the cigars. So definitely watch out for that. We'll have our own brand coming shortly.
That sounds really fascinating too. And as we get closer to your launch date, uh, please stay in touch with us. I'd love to have you on for that launch as well. That'd be
Yes,
cool.
I'll definitely come back. I look forward to it.
What's the profile of the cigar? I'm not worried about factory or anything like that yet. I don't want to disclose any of your stuff, but what's the profile? Is it going to be? Are you going with mild, strong, Dominican,
Actually, I'm going
Nicaraguan?
to start off with 3.
Oh, okay,
It's going to be a mild, a medium, and a bold, a strong.
okay.
I'm going to launch with 3 of them. So you'll get 3 opportunities to sample, and as I mentioned, it's the mild, the medium, and the bold.
hmm Are you going to? You're obviously going to pair it and then offer that as part of your subscription service. Are you going to subside from your current cigar vendors coming into rotation within the future, or are you just going to stick with your current model and just treat your brand as a regular brand for this company?
Yeah. I'm going to continue doing what I'm presently doing,
Yep.
and we will independently sell the cigars on a separate site, and occasionally I'll just toss in a free cigar from my brand, so customers can sample it, and if they like it, they can go to our website and purchase it. So we'll be giving away a lot of free cigars
hmm
to introduce my brand into the marketplace, so people can actually try it.
You have our address, right?
Yes, I got it, guys. You guys, you guys will definitely get some free samples.
We love samples, for sure. Um, in regards to the cigar, are you gonna try to put it into retail stores, like into brick and mortar stores, or are you gonna just keep it exclusive to the website?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it exclusive. Initially, we're going to have small batches,
hmm
uh, and obviously, it's going to be a premium price cigar, and we're going to keep it to like a small batch in the initial run. So I anticipate we'll sell out very quickly, and we won't have enough supply to put up in cigar stores. So we'll limit the number of cigars that we'll produce in order to control the pricing of it. I don't want it to be discounted. I want it to be a premium brand cigar, a luxury product. So the only way to control that is by actually controlling the distribution of it. At some point in time, when we get the manufacturing up and I'm able to produce a large supply, I'll extend it out to select retail stores and we'll price it accordingly.
And now, geographically, you currently are stationed in Atlanta, Georgia, correct?
That's correct. We're going to launch it initially in the Southeast, and we'll come up to New York also.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hot spot for cigars.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you can get some good stuff down there. Atlanta's a fun place to go.
It is. I've been here 20 years. I moved here from Los Angeles, and I love it here.
Nice. You been to Savannah, Georgia?
I've been to Savannah, Georgia. I've been to all the places in Georgia.
Yep.
So I've traveled a lot. I've had a chance to tour a lot of cities in the Southeast. I had a wholesale business that allowed me to travel around the Southeast. So I've done a lot of extensive traveling.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Now we're going to get to know your personality. If you were a superhero, if you were to wake up tomorrow as a superhero, who would you be and why? You can take time. We're fine. I'm just enjoying my cigar.
I would have to say that I would be Superman. That's one of my favorite characters, and one of my favorite basketball players is Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
And Dwight Howard. So I would say I'm a superhero based off of Superman.
Superman. How would you use your superpowers?
Well, I would use my superpowers to correct injustices around the world.
There you go.
I've been fortunate enough to travel and see injustices occur to a lot of people. And if I had the powers today, I'd just resolve those issues and give people the opportunity to live life and enjoy the beauty of things without having to worry about the problems of the world.
For sure, that's a great answer. That's good. It speaks a lot to your personality. A couple more questions on your cigar. Have you gotten through the graphics and stuff like that? Because that's a fascinating phase too. I don't need to know what they are, but have you got a label in mind and you're pretty much ready to rock on that side?
Actually, I'm working with a designer presently.
Okay.
And we are still in the initial stages of it, and I should have something within the next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. So we are working through the design of the cigar, and I should have something shortly. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm so excited about being able to do a legacy product like this. When I'm dead and gone, at least you can buy some William Coit cigars. So I'm so excited about that.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Building a brand and solidifying your place within the market is a very fascinating process. And, we're so blessed that this country allows us to do that. Here you are sitting, having a business idea. And then, a couple of bar napkins or pad paper. I don't need to know, right? Later, now you can live your dreams. It's great.
There you go.
That's
the beauty of America. You have an idea, and you can put as much sweat, equity, and money into it, and see how well it develops.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to say to the audience?
I'm so thankful for the opportunity to tell you about Whiskey and Cigars, and also the Whiskey and Cigar Tour. I encourage people to come enjoy the tour events. As I mentioned, we will be coming to 15 select cities. This is a wonderful opportunity to try some good whiskeys and cigars, and also meet some interesting people within the cigar and whiskey industry. And the beauty of it is we're going to exotic cities around the world. These are cities that You'll have a tremendous amount of fun. You'll truly love it. So it's a small amount, $597 for the event. You will have to pay for your airline ticket and your hotel, but these are memories that you will never forget. So I encourage the listeners to come on and participate.
Absolutely. And then if they are in one of the 34 states, it'd be a great subscription service. Makes a great gift too. You know, if you
Yes,
have
it does.
if you have
For
a cigar
weddings,
lover, or
birthdays,
yep.
you name it. It's a great gift for those special days in someone's life.
Do you have a limit as to if they can subscribe for 1 month, 2 month, 3 months, 6 months, or?
No, you can buy an initial subscription. There's a one-time offer,
Mm-hmm.
and also you can also do a recurring subscription.
Yeah.
So it's left up to you. I encourage you to do the recurring, so you'll get a chance to sample a wide variety of the whiskeys and the cigars.
And you do this monthly, correct?
That's correct.
There you go. There you go. William Coit from Whiskey-and-Cigars.com. William, best of luck to you. And when you launch your product, definitely circle back with us.
Most definitely, we'll do that. And
Okay.
thank you guys again for the opportunity.
Okay, absolutely. That's episode 272 of Stogie Geeks. We'll see you next Friday.